What's going on, guys? Jacob Orth with another video of Jacob's Life in Vegas. This is actually reason number one to love Las Vegas, Nevada. This is for those of you who are thinking about moving out here, and then also for those of you who are going to come and just visit as a tourist for a short stay. The first reason is the weather. Now, I moved out here from San Jose, California, a place that has beautiful weather most of the year. Doesn't really get too hot down there. It can, but it's usually pretty short-lived. And doesn't get too cold. It can get fairly cold, but it's a beautiful place to be, like a lot of places in California. So this is coming from a California guy who loves the weather out here in Vegas. Now, a lot of people think of Vegas, they just simply think of the desert. They think it's always 110 degrees out here, and that is nowhere near the case. So going through the months of the year, let's just start off in January, okay? January and February, it's cold out here, okay? We do have winter time. This is high desert out here. We have winter time, and we can actually even get snow. We do get some snow. We didn't get any this last winter, but the winter before, my first winter out here, we did get snow a couple times. Nothing that would really stick, but you would actually, if you went outside, you would notice that there was actually snow coming down. Now, it definitely gets cold in January. In February, it's still kind of cold, but it starts to warm up as we get into March and April. As we get into the springtime, it's a beautiful time out here. Spring is great. The only little bit of a downside to spring is that's when it's really, really windy. When you get into March, April, and even to May, that's when the wind really kicks up out here. So, and being that we're out here in the desert, that's also a lot of dust that goes with that wind. So there's some days in the springtime, the weather will be beautiful, the temperature will be nice, but that wind is just a monster to deal with. And it can be early in the morning, or sometimes it's late at night. The wind can come any time of day. Now, as we get out of May, and we get into June, then into July, then into August, that's what people think of when they think of Vegas. They think of the heat. And it definitely does get hot out here. It gets 100 degrees plus, 110 degrees plus sometimes. This last summer really wasn't that bad in my opinion. It was only about 2 months of actual summer, and it cooled off pretty quickly. Really by the end of August it had cooled off. But the summertime does get hot. It is a dry heat out here in the desert. And we have something else here that happens in the summertime that most people wouldn't think of. That is actually our monsoon season here in Vegas. That's actually like the rainy season out here is in the summertime. And I remember when I was first out here, towards the end of May and early June, driving down the freeway and seeing signs that said, slow down for flooded streets. And I just remember thinking, whoever put that sign up is freaking crazy. Because what do you mean? It's May. We're going into June. We're going into the summer. What do you mean flooded streets? Well, I learned pretty quickly what monsoon season was out here. Okay, there's several times where I'd be at work over near the Strip, and I would see just these dark clouds around the neighborhood I lived. And as I would get closer, it would truly be storming in the neighborhoods I live. Sometimes it's just in certain parts of the area. Sometimes it will actually take over the Strip. And it is weird when it's June or in the middle of July and it's hot outside or it's muggy because it's just these overcast clouds and it just starts to rain and it just actually gets humid. It just gets stuffy out here. So that actually does happen in the summertime. So even though in the summer it can get really hot, we actually have rain big time in the summer. Now then as you get into September and October, that's probably my other favorite time of the year is the fall. Once you're transitioning out of summer into the fall, it's another time where it is gorgeous out here, where it's in the 70s during the daytime. I mean, it's perfect weather to be driving with your windows down and just enjoying the day. The fall is beautiful into September, October, and even into November. This last year, November was beautiful. I mean, we didn't even really have any cold until like close to December. So normally that's when it does get cold, November into December. You get into the holidays and it will get cold out here. But this last year really was great. We only had winter for about 1 week. It was like 1 week in December we actually had winter, and that was it. 2 years ago we really did have winter where it did get cold. We did get some snow. I think it got down to about 19 degrees one night I saw on my phone in December and in January, and it'll get into the 20s and 30s. But this last winter, I mean, hardly existed. I mean, even in January, I was driving during the day with the windows down. It was like 70 degrees outside. It was like we didn't even have winter out here. We've had beautiful weather for most of this entire past year. So and that's really the number one reason. That's the first reason I'll say. I'm going to have other videos where I'm going to talk about other good reasons to live here in Las Vegas. But for some of you who are coming, if you're moving here from the Midwest or somewhere in the East Coast and you're used to when it's January, it is like 1 degree outside, then you're going to absolutely love it out here. Even someone like me coming from California, I love the weather out here. So one of the best reasons to love Las Vegas, beautiful weather most of the year. Of course, it's not perfect all the time, but depending on where you're coming from, then you're probably going to like the weather out here more often than not. All right, guys, that's it for this first video. I'm Jacob. This is My Life in Vegas. Stay tuned for some more videos to come.